I think over the last 5 years, asset owners have started asking, right? So there are two things that I sort of see. There are a lot more women also who are in control of capital, right? And it's not just, it's just the men deciding what to do with it. And I think institutionally there have been a recognition, right, that this diversity is missing. And this diversity brings a positive impact on financial returns.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Impactor series done in collaboration with Incubate. I'm Apoorva, and today what essentially we are going to do is champion a change maker, especially in the VC landscape. Today we have with us Ritu Verma, who works as a managing partner with Ankur Capital. With a decade-long career which sort of looks at leadership roles in the VC investment landscape, we wanted to talk to her about how the diversity play is in the VC landscape in India. So I wanted to get into this, right? Like, while there is diversity in the leadership team, how is the VC, like the inner circle of the Indian VC women, like in terms of the women in the VC world, like how is that community, and how is there a community that is over there, and is there a sort of a network that people can tap into or sort of derive from? Is something of that sort prevalent?
So definitely, I think there are a bunch of initiatives afoot in the Indian ecosystem. We are part of some of those initiatives, right? To be able to provide, let's say a forum, right? A forum for you to interact, a forum for you to perhaps, learn from and grow. So I think those have started, definitely. And, I can speak for myself personally. It is good to sort of understand what the challenges are in the ecosystem, right? It is good to understand from other people sitting at other firms as to, what those things could possibly be, right? You also get people coming in and talking, right, about their experiences. And, there are some aha moments about like, oh yeah, even I went through that, right? And in some sense, basically, right? So I think, those forums are valuable. Yeah. I think they probably will evolve a bit more as we go along, right? I think, you start in a WhatsApp group level to some extent, and you say, hey, let's meet kind of thing, right? But I think they will evolve to get a bit more structure, to be able to provide people with more, targeted mentorship or support, or even journeys, right? As we grow, to say, because not everybody is the same just because you're a woman. But there are different journeys, and, to see different journeys ahead of you is just something that is also valuable.
No, and perfectly, you said the right thing. Like, that you find somebody who essentially speaks your language, and you're like, okay, yeah, thank you. I hear you because I have gone through the same. Yeah. And picking from that, Ritu, can you tell us about the challenges that essentially the ecosystem faces today, especially when it comes to the women over there in terms of the leadership positions that sort of you guys sort of bond on?
So there just aren't enough women, right? I mean, that is the biggest challenge, right? So you can't say that you are addressing diversity. When you talk about what happens is, if you insert one person in like 9 other people, right? It depends on that person whether the voice is going to be there or not. And 9 other people are all the same. Correct. Right? It takes a hell of a lot of courage for that one person to then, push their viewpoint or through on the table. I'm not even talking about pushing agendas or any such thing, right? Fundamentally here. So I think, to me, the biggest challenge is in numbers, right? That we're at this like tokenism number here, right? Which does nothing, right? I mean, it ticks a box, in my opinion, right? So you've got to move that balance. And I think till you don't move that balance, right, as I said earlier, the balance for me ideally is 50-50, right? But whatever, 60-40, 40% men, 60% women is also fine for me, or vice versa, whatever, right? So you're reaching more critical mass, right? I think, to me, that's the biggest challenge, right? That we need to address, right? And the roots of that, you can go down to why is it not that? I mean, many reasons, right? That everybody in the ecosystem sort of points through. But that doesn't mean that it's not achievable, right? It is completely achievable. It's just, you have to work away at it.
Very true. And also because today investors are looking at a diverse team, as you said, like as a token thing, that in a team of 10, if you have one representation, that essentially doesn't mean that you have a say. Representation and say are two very different things. And that sort of understanding comes with
And even if you have it at a particular level, right? If it is a tick mark, it just doesn't work, right? It just it's just one person in a community that is very similar is actually a really tough situation. I don't care which level you're at, right? Fundamentally. So I think I've talked to LPs about this, and like the tokenism doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the diversity of thought. It doesn't help the woman. It doesn't help anybody at the end of the day.
Even the organization per se.
The organization, right? I mean, if you're going to derive value out of it, this is just a tick mark, right? That you're saying basically, like, I have to whatever do this.
Correct.
But if you're going to ask for more diversity at the team, let's be clear that you ask for the real diversity at the team and not the tick mark. So I think there are steps to go.
100%. And from that, Ritu, I'll come to the investment thesis, right? Like, what do you, and when you are part of an investment team and with Ankur Capital, what do you sort of, gauge when it comes to the portfolio companies that you're looking at?
I think this is fairly standard across the system. I mean, we're looking for disruptions.
Yes.
We're looking for people who are changing the status quo. We're looking at the people and the teams and saying, hey, can these people take this out of the box and make it fly, right? We're looking at how big the market size is and, what can that possibly be, right? We're looking at sort of the hurdles to be getting to the market size, right? Like, will that happen and what time horizon will these hurdles fall away, basically? So I think, these things are fairly critical for us, right? We're in a VC business. We need businesses that, actually go through what call inflection points to scale. So we do really look to see whether or not the business can offer that flexibility, that inflection points are possible in these kind of businesses or not. So those are the sort of broadly what we take a look at.
Yeah. And obviously, right, the two things that are ESG and D&I, which is basically ESG and diversity and inclusion. Have you seen like a conscious effort being made to sort of include that in the investment thesis? Pretty like all guns blazing and sort of make it like one of the probably top 7 criteria that you're going to look at?
So we do have ESG metrics at Ankur, right? But again, I'm going to distinguish between two things, right? So ESG has 3 components to it, right? There's the environment, societal, and the governance part of it, right? And I think again, if it's a tick mark, it's a tick mark at the end of the day, right? So for us at Ankur, I think a lot of those factors are very core. I mean, we don't look at a business, we are looking for things that will disrupt how the environment works, right? We are looking for how things will disrupt, for people who are more in the mass market or low income communities, right? So we have a governance norm and we need every entrepreneur to sort of follow those governance norms, and it is critical for us. Right. So I think while there are metrics, etc., I think a lot of this, there are businesses that we would not invest in because fundamentally they don't meet the criteria of what we think the future will also be about. Let's start there. Right. So we will not be investing in something that's harmful for the planet, right? That is just, not something that's on our radar. So for us, it's 2 levels, right? At the investment level, these are our theses.
Correct.
And they fundamentally are core of our theses. So, that ESG piece is a little simpler in some respects.
Yes. And what about the D&I piece, diversity and inclusion?
So we've actually have a D&I piece of
Yes.
sort of encouraging D&I, and I think where we can, it comes in multiple different levels, right?
Correct.
It sort of comes in at hiring
Yes.
at the company, right? It also comes in terms of like when you do hire, is there parity in pay? Is there, you know, all of that pieces, right? So it's a, you know, at the company level, I would say I personally that I'm not sure we're there.
Yes.
Right, with that, with the level of that inclusion sort of being
Yes.
happening, right? What I will say is that all of our entrepreneurs are very sensitive to it and are open to, you know, I mean, consciously will take a look at actually doing that. I think somewhere we all struggle with talent flows here, right? And I think that fundamentally, you know, hasn't got the balance to be where it should. Let's put it
No,
this
and also, and Ritu, you pointed a very good thing out, right? Like it is also, you have to go down to a level where it is about the hiring, it is about the pay parity, and sort of that sort of builds on it. So it's it's an evolving model, and you have to get to it. But this is a perfect start to it. Like if you start at a great thing, where again, as you said, it is not just a checkbox anymore. It is more about like, you know, doing diversity in its real sense. So that's perfect.
And you know, the critical piece, Apoorva, here, right, is that, you know, you have the cultural environment in your organization to accept diversity, right? And, you know, you can put in whatever metrics that you like, right? But, you know, neither you or I want to go sit in a toxic place at the end of the day. And you'll meet every tick mark, because that is not captured on a piece of paper, right? But nobody wants to come do that, right? Yes. And that's the environment that you need to create in order to actually increase talent being interested in you. Let's start at this point of time where talent has choices. As when I have a choice of different places to go work at, right? It's not that I don't anymore and I'm desperate and like, you know, I'll deal with whatever kind of culture you throw at me. Right? But fundamentally, you know, you have to create that. And it is important for you as an entrepreneur to create that so that you get that leadership, you get the best of the best leadership there to take your company to the next level. Right?
Yes, very, very, very perfectly said. Because as you said, today, fortunately, we are in a space where we'll not take anything that is offered. We have a choice to say no. So that is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. To that, Ritu, we're at the end of this conversation. It has been amazing. But I would just like to understand, like, so the future right now seems like probably we are going to go beyond the gender norms, or is there some expectations on the table? What does it look like for you?
Beyond the gender norms, I mean, I think we have to get beyond gender, right? Yes. Essentially, right? I think that's actually another box in many ways, right? I think all women and men want to just do what they want to do and not have boxes to get stuck into, right? Majority of people, basically. So I think we have to get beyond gender. I think we have to start talking about outcomes, and we have to start talking about what is the best way to achieve the outcomes with the best people, right? And you can't leave half the world out, right? In that whole story. And you know, I think the next level that we don't talk about enough is the fact that, you know, I mean, even if there are still pockets, right? Diversity is not just about gender, right? It's easier to define diversity in terms of gender, but the actual diversity comes, you know, can I invest in that entrepreneur who came from, you know, not that so-called B school or whatever else, right? I mean, there's a hell of a lot of diversity to be addressed, especially in India, from all those aspects, right? And currently those are not under discussion. They're not under discussion, right? So I think one guy told me, I thought VCs only invest in people who come out of these 5 named schools in India or whatever, right? And I was like, no, I don't think so. We have to invest in people who can make things happen. So I think the conversation is going, you know, has to move from boxes to saying, you know, let's not draw boxes around people. Let's get the best people to do what we want.
Yeah. the real essence of inclusion.
Yes.
So yeah, with that, Ritu, thank you so much. This was great. It is always a pleasure to talk to you. Your insights are always it inspires us, and I hope it inspires a lot of women out there as well. So thank you so much for taking.
Thank you, Apoorva, for doing this super important topic, and I'm glad you guys did this.
Thank you.